Milo stepped carefully over the jagged rocks that covered the surface of the remote planet. The sky was a dull orange, with faint clouds that shimmered in the thin atmosphere. He had traveled far from the last human settlement following strange readings on his scanner. Tara, his research partner, followed close behind, her eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of life or danger. The planet seemed empty, but Milo had learned long ago that emptiness often hid the most extraordinary secrets. "Are you sure about this, Milo?" Tara asked, her voice cautious. "Our scanners haven't picked up anything solid for miles. What if this is another dead end?" Milo shook his head, his excitement barely contained. "No, Tara, I feel it. The readings are not random. Something is down there, something old and powerful. I can feel it calling us." Tara sighed but did not argue. She had learned to trust Milo's instincts, even when they led them into dangerous places. Together, they continued toward a ridge that hid the entrance to what looked like a narrow canyon. The scanner's signal grew stronger with every step, humming softly in their ears. When they reached the ridge, Milo crouched down and looked. Over the edge, the canyon floor was not made of rock as they had expected. Instead, it was smooth, almost polished, and reflected the faint light from the sky above. At the center, partially covered by dust and rubble, was a strange stone door, carved into the canyon wall. It was large, easily tall enough to fit two people standing side by side, and covered with symbols that neither Milo nor Tara recognized. "Look at this," Milo whispered, his hand brushing over the surface. The symbols felt warm to the touch, as if the stone itself had a pulse. "These markings are not like anything we have ever seen. They are alive somehow." Tara knelt beside him, tracing a finger along the carvings. "It looks ancient, but it is perfectly preserved. How can something this old survive so well?" Milo did not answer. He was too focused on the strange energy that radiated from the door. The scanner's hum grew louder, almost like it was reacting to their presence. Milo stepped back, glanced at Tara, and then pressed his hand against the largest symbol at the center. A low vibration ran through him, and the door slowly began to move. A cool wind rushed out from inside the chamber, carrying with it the scent of metal and earth. Milo and Tara exchanged a look of awe and fear. The darkness inside seemed endless, yet inviting. Milo held a small flashlight, and as he turned it on, the beam revealed walls covered in more strange symbols and faintly glowing lines. The chamber was enormous, stretching far beyond what the entrance suggested. "Do you feel that?" Milo asked, his voice low. "It's like the chamber is alive, watching us." Tara nodded. "I feel it too. But what is it? Why would something this old be aware of us?" They stepped inside carefully, the floor smooth beneath their feet. Every step echoed softly, but the sound did not seem to fade. The chamber hummed gently, almost like a heartbeat. Milo moved toward a large circular platform in the center, noticing that the glowing lines on the floor converged there. As he approached, the symbols on the wall shifted slightly, forming patterns that seemed to tell a story. "Look at this," Tara said, pointing to the wall. "It is a sequence of images. I think it is history, but it is not human history." Milo studied the glowing images. They showed strange creatures walking under alien skies, cities made of light and metal, and vast machines that moved without hands. One by one, the scenes seemed to fade into emptiness, leaving only the glowing lines. "I have never seen anything like this," Milo said. "It is like the chamber is showing us the rise and fall of entire civilizations. Maybe it wants us to learn from them." Tara shivered. "Or maybe it is testing us. We are the first humans here. What if it judges us?" Milo frowned but did not respond. The thought made his pulse quicken. He felt both fear and excitement. Human beings had always faced challenges that others could not understand. This was different, yes, but it felt like an opportunity, a chance to prove that humans could endure even in places untouched by time. As they moved deeper into the chamber, Milo noticed a soft light glowing from a circular object at the far end. It seemed to hover above the ground, pulsing slowly like a living heart. He felt an instinct to approach it, as if it held answers to questions he had not yet thought to ask. "Tara, come here," he said, keeping his voice quiet. "There is something at the center. I think this is what our scanner was picking up." Tara followed, her eyes wide with wonder. As they reached the hovering object, a soft voice filled the chamber. It was not human, yet it spoke clearly in their minds. "Welcome, travelers. You are the first to arrive in many centuries. Time has not forgotten this place. It waits for those who can understand its purpose." Milo and Tara exchanged a stunned look. Milo swallowed and spoke aloud, unsure if the chamber could hear him. We want to learn. We want to understand." The chamber hummed louder, and the glowing lines on the floor brightened. The air seemed to vibrate with energy. Milo felt a thrill he had never known before. This was no ordinary discovery. This was a place where time itself had stopped to witness the courage of humanity. And, in that moment, Milo realized that their journey had only just begun. Milo and Tara stood frozen, staring at the glowing lines on the floor and the soft, pulsing object that seemed to float above the ground. The voice in their minds was calm, almost gentle, yet it carried a weight that made them both uneasy. Milo swallowed hard. We mean no harm," he said, unsure if the chamber could understand spoken words as well as thought. The light on the hovering object shifted and seemed to form shapes that mirrored the wall's images. "This chamber observes all who enter," the voice said. "It is a witness to life and a test for those who seek knowledge. Time does not touch this place. You may learn, but only if you understand the lessons of the past." Tara stepped closer to Milo, her hand brushing his arm for reassurance. "Do you think it is alive?" she whispered. Milo shook his head slowly. "Not alive like us, but it reacts, and it knows when someone is ready or unready. It judges patience, curiosity, and understanding." The chamber's light brightened, and a new set of images appeared along the walls. Milo and Tara watched as cities of metal and stone rose and fell, oceans covered planets, and strange creatures of light and energy moved in harmony with unknown technology. The images were vivid, almost like memories preserved for eternity. "Look at the patterns," Milo said. "Every civilization here seemed to rise quickly but then vanished. They could not survive their own growth. Maybe the chamber is showing use the cost of pride or carelessness." Tara nodded. "It is not just history, it is a warning. The chamber is teaching us, but I wonder why it chose humans to see this." Before Milo could answer, the glowing object shifted closer to them, forming a shape like a doorway. "Humans are rare among civilizations," the voice said. "Your species has potential that even time cannot erase. The potential alone is not enough. You must prove your courage, your wisdom, and your unity." Milo's heart raced. "Prove? How?" he asked. The chamber did not answer in words. Instead, the glowing lines on the floor rearranged themselves into a puzzle, a series of pathways and symbols. It was as if the chamber wanted them to move through it, to act, and to think carefully about every step. Tara studied the puzzle. "We cannot just rush forward. The paths change, depending on what we touch. We must think and work together." Milo nodded. They started carefully, stepping on the symbols and observing the light. Each choice they made caused the floor to change slightly, forming new paths or closing old ones. Sometimes the light pulsed brighter, other times it dimmed. Milo realized that the chamber was testing their teamwork and patience, rewarding thoughtfulness and punishing hasty decisions. Hours passed, though neither could tell exactly how long. The chamber seemed to exist outside time. When Milo and Tara paused to rest, the glowing object floated closer, its light bathing them in warmth. "You are learning," the voice said. "But knowledge is not enough. Understanding comes when you face fear and uncertainty without losing your purpose." Suddenly, a low rumble echoed through the chamber. Small sections of the floor shifted, forming walls that trapped them in a narrow passage. From the shadows, shapes began to move, faint and mechanical. They did not speak or make noise, but their presence was clear. Milo stepped in front of Tara, holding out his hand as if to protect her. "Stay close. We have to keep calm and think." Tara's eyes were wide, but she nodded. Together, they observed the mechanical shapes, noticing patterns in their movement. Milo realized the chamber wanted them to act with intelligence rather than force. Using sticks and tools from their pack, they gently triggered switches and levers embedded in the walls. The mechanical shapes paused, then moved aside, allowing them to continue. "See," Milo said quietly, "it is not about strength. It is about understanding and patience." They moved deeper into the chamber, and the images on the walls changed again. Now they showed humans among the other civilizations, standing out for their curiosity, problem-solving, and courage. It was as if the chamber wanted them to see themselves not as small or fragile, but as capable beings with the power to shape their future. Tara smiled despite the tension. "Maybe this is why we were chosen." The chamber recognizes what humans can do when they work together and think beyond immediate survival. Milo felt a new determination rising inside him. "Then we must continue. We must prove that humans can learn from the past and survive the challenges ahead. This is our chance to show the chamber that we are worthy." As they advanced, the chamber's light pulsed like a heartbeat, guiding their steps but never revealing the final goal. Every challenge, every puzzle, and every mechanical obstacle tested their patience, intellect, and courage. It was exhausting, but Milo and Tara found strength in each other, realizing that their human determination was more powerful than any fear the chamber could create. Finally, after hours of navigating the glowing pathways, they reached a large open space at the heart of the chamber. The hovering object floated above a raised platform, shining brighter than ever. The voice spoke again, calm and deliberate. "You have passed the first test. You have shown courage, intelligence, and unity. But the chamber's lessons are not complete. Greater understanding awaits those who seek it with respect and care." Milo and Tara looked at each other, a mixture of exhaustion and wonder on their faces. They knew this was only the beginning. The chamber had chosen to reveal its secrets slowly, testing them step by step. But one thing was clear: humans were not just visitors here. They were participants in something much larger than themselves. And, as the light of the chamber bathed them, Milo felt hope. For the first time, he believed that humanity's place among the stars was not just possible but destined. Milo and Tara stood at the heart of the chamber, staring at the glowing object that hovered above the raised platform. The light was warm but powerful, illuminating the strange symbols etched into the walls. Milo felt a pulse of energy run through him, as if the chamber itself was alive and aware of their every thought. "What do you think it wants from us now?" Tara asked softly, her eyes wide with curiosity. Milo shook his head. "I do not know, but I feel that the next step will show. You asked something very important. We have passed the first test, but I think the chamber is not done with us yet." Suddenly, the hovering object began to shift, forming patterns that resembled paths, doors, and tunnels. Milo realized that the chamber was offering a choice. Each Path glowed with a different color and seemed to lead in a different direction. Tara pointed to one of the paths. "Which one should we take?" Milo studied the glowing lines carefully. "I think it does not matter which one we choose first. The chamber is testing our decision, not just the path. We must trust ourselves and move forward." They stepped onto the path glowing faintly in blue. As they walked, the chamber walls changed again, displaying images of countless civilizations. Some of the images showed species that had built massive cities but collapsed due to arrogance or carelessness. Others showed species that had worked together, solving problems and surviving challenges. "Look at that one," Tara said, pointing to a scene of a civilization that had built towers of crystal and metal. They seemed so advanced, but everything fell apart. Milo nodded. "Yes, it is teaching us a lesson. Knowledge alone is not enough. Strength alone is not enough. You must combine intelligence, courage, and cooperation to survive. That is why humans are here. We have a chance to learn from all of this." As they moved deeper into the chamber, the path began to twist and rise. The glowing lines under their feet pulsed like a heartbeat, guiding them but also creating obstacles. Sections of the floor lifted and rotated, forming puzzles they had to solve to continue. Milo and Tara worked together, combining logic and intuition. They discovered that if one of them placed weight on a symbol while the other pressed a nearby panel, the floor shifted to form a new path. "This is incredible," Tara said, smiling despite her exhaustion. "The chamber is teaching us how to think together, not just individually." Suddenly, a soft vibration filled the chamber. From the shadows, mechanical shapes appeared again. This time, they were larger and more complex. They moved in patterns that seemed impossible to predict, forming walls and barriers as Milo and Tara advanced. "We need a new plan," Milo said quietly. "Force will not help us. We need to understand their movement and react carefully." Tara nodded. "Look at the gaps. If we time our steps with the patterns, we can move through without touching them. Watch the light." Using the glowing floor as their guide, they moved with careful precision. Milo counted the rhythm of the moving shapes while Tara signaled when it was safe to step. Each step required focus, patience, and trust. The mechanical shapes shifted and blocked paths, but they never struck them. It was clear that the chamber wanted them to observe, learn, and adapt, not fight. Finally, after what felt like hours, they reached a large chamber filled with images of stars and planets. At the center was a holographic map of the galaxy, showing paths of energy and glowing points where life had existed. The floating object above the platform now pulsed brighter, almost like it was pleased. The voice spoke again, calm and deliberate. "You have shown courage, intelligence, and cooperation. You have learned to act with care and patience. Now you see the vastness of life and the potential within your species. Humans are rare because few species can combine heart and mind in this way." Milo and Tara studied the map in awe. They could see the paths of civilizations rising and falling, entire worlds of knowledge and discovery. Some had succeeded for a time, but none had lasted. Humans were small, fragile, and inexperienced, yet the chamber recognized their potential. "Do you see it, Milo?" Tara whispered. "It is showing us that we have a chance, even if we are not perfect. We can learn from others and survive." Milo nodded, feeling a deep sense of determination. "Yes, and that is what makes humans different. We make mistakes, but we learn from them. We adapt, we create, and we endure. The chamber sees that potential in us." The glowing object shifted one final time, forming a clear path forward. "The next stage will test your wisdom," the voice said. "Knowledge and courage brought you this far, but understanding and humility will determine if you can truly advance." Only those who respect the lessons of the past will see the chamber's greatest secret. Tara looked at Milo with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. Are we ready for what comes next? Milo took a deep breath, feeling the pulse of the chamber through the floor and in his chest. We have no choice but to try. Humans do not give up, and we will face whatever the chamber presents. Together, we can succeed. With that, they stepped onto the glowing path, moving deeper into the chamber. The walls shimmered with new symbols, and the soft hum of energy grew stronger, surrounding them. Milo and Tara knew that the tests ahead would be harder, but for the first time, they felt the true weight of their potential. The chamber was not just a place of mystery. It was a witness to life, a teacher, and a challenge. And humans were ready to rise to it. Milo and Tara moved along the glowing path deeper into the chamber. The walls shimmered with strange symbols that seemed alive. Each symbol flickered as if it were watching them, testing not only their steps, but also their thoughts. The pulse of the chamber grew stronger, and the air vibrated with energy. Do you feel that? Tara whispered. It is like the chamber is alive and aware of everything we do. Milo nodded. It is. This is not just a place. It is a living memory of the universe. It judges action and intent. We have done well so far, but I think the next test will be harder. As they advanced, the path began to divide into multiple glowing routes. Each path had a different pattern of symbols and colors. Some glowed in soft gold, others in deep blue or green. Milo studied the paths carefully. The chamber wants us to choose wisely, he said. It is testing our judgment. One wrong step could trap us, or worse, make us go in circles forever. Tara looked at the paths and then back at Milo. We have worked together before. We can do it again. Let's choose a path and trust our instincts. They stepped onto the golden path. Almost immediately, the chamber reacted. The walls shifted, forming tunnels lined with images of civilizations at war and at peace. The images showed how arrogance, greed, and fear destroyed entire worlds, while cooperation, curiosity, and kindness allowed life to thrive. Look at these civilizations, Tara said. Some built great machines but destroyed themselves. Others worked together and survived much longer. Milo nodded. The chamber is showing us cause and effect. Actions have consequences. It is testing if we can learn from what we see and choose wisely. Suddenly, the floor beneath them began to move. Panels lifted, creating gaps and narrow bridges that required careful balance. Milo grabbed Tara's hand to help her across a particularly wide gap. Keep your focus, he said. We must move carefully. Haste will not help us. Tara nodded, trusting Milo completely. They moved forward step by step, adjusting their speed to match the rhythm of the shifting floor. The chamber was teaching them patience, teamwork, and awareness of their surroundings. As they reached the center of the tunnel, a soft glow appeared ahead. Mechanical shapes emerged again, more complex than before. They did not attack, but moved in patterns that blocked the paths. Milo and Tara studied their movements. They are predictable if we pay attention, Milo said. We need to time our steps with their movement and think ahead. Tara pointed to a gap in the patterns. Here, if we move together now, we can slip through without touching them. They synchronized their steps, moving as one. Each movement required trust, concentration, and calm. The mechanical shapes shifted and rotated around them, but Milo and Tara did not hesitate. By the time they reached the other side, they were breathing heavily but smiling. You see? Milo said, the chamber is testing more than strength. It is testing our intelligence, patience, and courage. They continued through the golden path, which opened into a wide chamber filled with images of stars, planets, and galaxies. The floating object hovered above a platform, glowing brighter than ever. The voice spoke again, calm and deliberate. You have shown judgment, patience, and cooperation. You have moved with care and understanding. But the chamber still waits to see if you can face the next challenge. The greatest test is not of mind or body, but of spirit. Milo and Tara stepped closer to the platform, feeling the warm energy radiating from the object. Symbols appeared beneath their feet, forming patterns that resembled constellations. The chamber pulsed in time with their steps, guiding them but never telling them what to do. What does it mean? Tara asked. Milo studied the symbols. I think we must connect the constellations in the correct order. It is like the stars themselves are giving us a puzzle. We must understand the patterns of the universe to continue. They worked together, observing the glowing symbols and moving carefully from one to another. Each correct step caused the light to grow stronger. Each mistake made the path dim slightly. They learned to trust their intuition while using logic to guide them. Hours passed as they moved through the constellation puzzle. The chamber's energy seemed to react to their determination. They felt stronger and more focused, as if the chamber was encouraging them to persevere. Finally, they completed the pattern. The glowing object above the platform expanded, forming a dome of light around them. The voice spoke one last time. You have passed the test of spirit. You have shown courage, wisdom, and cooperation. You have learned the lessons of patience, understanding, and humility. You are ready to see the chamber's greatest secret. Milo and Tara looked at each other, awe and excitement in their eyes. They knew that this secret could change everything they understood about life, the universe, and themselves. The chamber had prepared them, step by step, for a revelation unlike any other. The light of the floating object grew until it filled the entire chamber, and Milo felt a warmth and power unlike anything he had experienced before. He knew that this was only the beginning of a journey that would test humanity's limits and show them their true potential. The dome of light above Milo and Tara shimmered with intensity. Every symbol, every pulse, seemed to speak to them without words. The chamber was no longer simply testing them. It was revealing something far greater, a truth that stretched beyond time and space. Milo felt his heart beat faster, and Tara's eyes shone with a mixture of fear and wonder. Can you feel it? Tara whispered. It is like the chamber wants us to understand something huge. Milo nodded. Yes, this is what it has been preparing us for. We have learned patience, courage, and cooperation, but now it will teach us about our place in the universe. The floating object split into countless points of light, forming images of stars, planets, and distant galaxies. Milo and Tara saw civilizations that had risen and fallen, each leaving traces of knowledge, art, and wisdom. Some civilizations were strong but short-lived. Others were fragile but lasted longer because they had learned to work together. It is showing us the consequences of choices, Milo said. Each life, each action matters. Even small decisions can change the course of entire worlds. Tara pointed to one cluster of light. Look at that. That civilization built towers that reached the sky, but their towers are gone. Only there. Knowledge remains in the stars. Yes, Milo said. The chamber is teaching us that survival is not about power alone. It is about learning, adapting, and respecting life. That is why we are here. Humans have the chance to combine heart, mind, and spirit. Few species have done this before. Suddenly, the chamber shifted. A new path appeared, glowing silver, leading to a platform at the center. The light formed a bridge above a void filled with stars. Milo and Tara exchanged a glance. They both knew this path was the next stage, the one that would show them the chamber's deepest secret. They stepped onto the bridge carefully. With each step, the stars below seemed to move, forming constellations that shifted like living maps. The bridge was narrow, and Milo extended his hand to Tara. "We must stay together," he said. "The chamber tests unity as much as skill." As they reached the platform, the floating object reformed into a large crystalline structure. Inside it, swirling patterns of light created the image of a galaxy spinning endlessly. Milo could see the energy of countless civilizations flowing into the center, connecting with one another in a complex web. "This is incredible," Tyra breathed. "It is like the chamber is showing us the history of life itself." The voice spoke again, deeper and calmer than before. "You have reached the point few ever see. The chamber holds the knowledge of all life, the patterns of creation, and the paths of survival. Humans are rare because they have potential that is tested by choice, not just circumstance. What you see is not only history, but guidance. Learn from it, and your species may endure." Milo stepped closer to the crystalline structure. He felt a warmth in his chest, a connection to the energy flowing within the chamber. He understood that every light represented choices made by living beings. Some choices led to growth, others to destruction. He realized that humans had the power to shape their destiny, but only if they applied wisdom, courage, and compassion. Tara reached out as well. The moment her hand touched the crystal, a wave of images flooded her mind. She saw humans exploring planets, building machines that healed rather than destroyed, and working together across cultures and nations. She saw conflicts, but also solutions. She felt hope and responsibility all at once. "It is showing us the future we could create," she said softly. "We are small, but we can make a difference. The chamber believes we can." Milo nodded. "Yes, that is why we were brought here. To see the lessons of the past, to understand our potential, and to carry this knowledge forward. We are part of something much bigger than ourselves." The crystal pulsed with a final, bright light. The chamber itself seemed to breathe, a gentle rhythm that spoke of patience, endurance, and life. Milo and Tara felt an unspoken promise that if they continued to act with wisdom and courage, they could change the course of their species for the better. The voice spoke one last time. "Remember what you have learned. Remember that unity, knowledge, and heart create survival. The future is not fixed. It is shaped by those who choose to act with understanding and care. You have been prepared to face the challenges ahead. Go and carry this wisdom into your world." Milo and Tara stepped back from the crystal. The light slowly dimmed, returning the chamber to a calm glow. They could still feel the energy around them, gentle but powerful, as if the chamber itself had become a guide rather than a test. "We have seen it," Tara said, her voice steady but filled with awe. "We know what we must do. Humans can endure, but only if we make the right choices." Milo looked at her and nodded. "Yes, the chamber has given us more than knowledge. It has given us hope and responsibility. We must share this, teach others, and show the future that we are capable of more than survival. We can thrive if we remember the lessons here." Together, they began the journey back through the chamber, retracing the paths they had carefully navigated. The walls shimmered softly, as if acknowledging their understanding and growth. Every step they took was filled with purpose, for they now carried the chamber's greatest secret, the knowledge that the future was theirs to shape with courage, wisdom, and heart. Milo and Tara moved carefully back along the chamber's paths, their minds still alive with the visions of the crystal. Each step felt lighter now, but the weight of responsibility pressed upon them in a different way. The chamber had shown them the history of life, the choices that built or destroyed civilizations, and the potential humans had to shape the future. Now, they had to leave and carry this wisdom beyond the walls of the chamber as they retraced the shifting tunnels. The glowing symbols on the walls seemed to respond to them. They did not just show images anymore. They reflected their emotions. When Milo felt a surge of determination, the symbols glowed stronger. When Tara paused, considering the meaning of the lessons they had learned, the light softened in understanding. "The chamber is still alive," Tara said quietly. "It is not just a guide. It is watching how we leave and what we carry with us." Milo nodded. "It is making sure we truly understand. We cannot leave this knowledge behind or treat it lightly. Every choice we make from now on matters more than ever." They reached the area with the constellation puzzle again. The symbols they had connected before now formed a path back, guiding them with quiet confidence. The mechanical shapes that had blocked their path before were still present, but this time they moved aside as if acknowledging their mastery and growth. Milo extended his hand to Tara. "We have learned how to move together. Let's do this. One final time with focus and trust." Tara smiled and took his hand. Together, they moved in perfect rhythm, stepping carefully and confidently. The mechanical shapes rotated, lifted, and shifted around them, but Milo and Tara navigated each challenge with calm and awareness. The chamber seemed to approve of every move, guiding them gently without interference thought. As they emerged onto the golden path, a sudden shift occurred. The walls opened, revealing a vast space filled with stars and swirling light. It was as if they had stepped outside the chamber and into the universe itself. The sense of wonder and power was overwhelming. "This is the final stage," Milo said. "The chamber wants us to see what we are protecting, what our choices will influence." Tara looked out into the glowing void. She could see planets in formation, stars being born, and the slow dance of galaxies. Each celestial body seemed alive, moving with purpose, reflecting the interconnectedness of all things. "Everything is connected," she whispered. "The chamber has shown us that every action matters, no matter how small." The voice spoke once more, gentle but firm. "The chamber has shared its knowledge. It has revealed the patterns of life and the possibilities of the future. Now you must return to your world. Apply what you have learned. Teach others. Inspire actions that honor life, cooperation, and understanding. The chamber's work continues through those who choose wisely." Milo felt the truth of the words deep in his chest. "We cannot waste this," he said. "The chamber trusted us with more than secrets. It trusted us with responsibility. We have to live up to it." Tara nodded. "Yes, we have seen what humans can do if they act with courage and care. Now it is up to us to help others see it too." The chamber began to close slowly, its light dimming to a soft glow. Milo and Tara stepped onto the final platform, feeling the energy of the crystal surround them one last time. The path back to the entrance opened, showing a tunnel lined with calm, steady light. The lessons of the chamber were embedded in every step, every wall, every glow dot as they walked. Memories of the tests, the mechanical shapes, and the constellation puzzle filled their minds. Each challenge had taught them patience, understanding, and cooperation. Each vision from the crystal had reminded them of the importance of choice, the consequences of action, and the power of hope. When they reached the chamber entrance, the walls parted completely, revealing the world outside. The sunlight spilled in, warm and inviting. Birds flew overhead, and the wind carried the scent of earth and life. Milo and Tara paused, taking a deep breath, feeling the connection between the chamber and the world they were returning to. "We have a task now," Milo said. "The chamber did not just show us history, it gave us guidance. We must act on it, or all this knowledge will be lost." Tara looked around, her eyes shining with determination. We will teach others, inspire action, and show the value of cooperation, understanding, and care." Humans have the chance to shape the future, and we cannot waste it. They stepped out of the chamber, leaving behind the glowing walls and shifting paths. The energy of the crystal stayed with them, a quiet reminder that the lessons of the past and the possibilities of the future were always within reach. Every choice they made from now on would reflect the wisdom of the chamber dot as they walked together toward the world beyond. Milo and Tara knew that their journey had only just begun. The chamber had prepared them, guided them, and revealed the potential of humanity. Now, it was up to them to ensure that knowledge would grow, inspire, and endure. The future was theirs to shape, and they would face it with courage, wisdom, and heart. Milo and Tara stepped out of the chamber into the bright sunlight. The world felt alive in a new way. Every sound, every movement, every breeze seemed connected, as if the universe had opened its eyes to them. They carried the lessons of the chamber, the wisdom of civilizations past, and the visions of countless stars and planets. "We cannot waste time," Milo said, his voice steady. "The chamber gave us guidance. It showed us what humans can become. We must act now." Tara nodded. "Yes, we must start small, but every choice matters. If we help even a few people understand, it can grow into something greater." Their first step was to return to their city. The streets were busy with people moving through their daily routines, unaware of the vast knowledge Milo and Tara now held. They felt a surge of responsibility. It was one thing to understand the chamber's lessons, and another to share them with a world that might not be ready. Milo turned to Tara. "We need a plan. We cannot just tell people what we saw. We must show them how choices matter, how cooperation builds strength, and how understanding can change the future." Tara smiled. "We start with our neighbors, our friends, and our community. Actions speak louder than words. If we demonstrate what we learned, people will follow naturally." They began with small projects. They helped rebuild areas that had been damaged by storms. They organized groups to clean parks and plant trees. They taught children simple lessons about teamwork, respect, and caring for the planet. Slowly, the energy of their actions began to ripple outward. People noticed the change in Milo and Tara. Others joined their efforts, inspired by the hope and dedication they showed. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the hills, Milo and Tara stood on a hill overlooking the city. The streets below glowed with light from the homes, and small groups of people worked together in parks and community centers. The sense of unity was growing, like the first stars appearing in a twilight sky. "The chamber showed us the potential of humans," Milo said. "We are seeing it already. Small choices, done with care, can change everything." Tara nodded. "Yes, and every action we take now shapes the future. That is the lesson we must never forget." As the days passed, Milo and Tara faced challenges. Some people resisted their ideas. Others were too busy with their own lives to notice. Yet they persisted, remembering the chamber's lessons. Every time they felt doubt, they would close their eyes and see the spinning galaxies, the flowing energy of civilizations, and the interconnectedness of life. That vision reminded them why their efforts mattered. One afternoon, a messenger arrived with news of a distant village suffering from a flood. Milo and Tara gathered supplies and led a team to help. They organized rescue efforts, rebuilt homes, and taught people how to prepare for future disasters. The villagers were amazed at the cooperation and care shown by Milo, Tara, and their team. They joined in willingly, inspired to continue helping each other. "That is what the chamber meant," Tara said as they worked. "We are spreading hope, showing that unity and understanding create survival. Every person we reach is another light in the universe." Milo smiled. "Yes, this is bigger than us, bigger than any city or country. It is the future of humanity, shaped by our actions and our choices." As months passed, The movement grew. Communities connected, sharing knowledge, resources, and support. Conflicts were resolved through understanding, not force. Milo and Tara's teachings spread quietly but powerfully, like ripples across a calm lake. People began to see themselves as part of a larger web, responsible for each other and the world they lived in. One night, Milo and Tara stood on the same hill again, watching the stars twinkle above. They felt a deep sense of peace. The chamber's lessons had become part of them, and now they were part of the world. "We have done what we can," Milo said softly. "The chamber trusted us to guide humanity. We have started. The future is still in motion, but we have given it hope." Tara smiled and reached for his hand. "Yes, the chamber will always be with us, in our actions and in the choices we make. And humans will endure, grow, and thrive, as long as we remember the lessons we learned." The stars above seemed brighter that night, as if the universe itself recognized the work being done below. Milo and Tara knew that their journey had changed not only their lives, but the course of humanity. The chamber had refused to bury the knowledge of time, and now it flowed through them, guiding the world toward a future shaped by courage, wisdom, and heart thought, with hope in their hearts and determination in their minds. Milo and Tara continued their mission. Every step, every choice, every act of care and understanding became part of the legacy of the chamber. And as long as humans remembered the lessons of the past and acted with unity and wisdom, the future would always remain bright. The chamber had given them knowledge, but they had given it life. And that was the true power of humanity, the power to endure, to grow, and to shine among the stars.